Hi, I'm Gene Baker, and I lived in Dutchess County from the early 60s until I graduated high school in the mid 70s.
Gene Baker, current athletic director at Grace Christian Academy in Florida and former Little League baseball state champion, grew up in Dutchess County before moving all across the U.S. to pursue his love of sports.
What was great for me in and around Dutchess County were all the really athletic opportunities. I know that's what we're talking about, so it sounds like I'm answering to the interview, but really that was my life. I had football, basketball, baseball, the neighborhood kids playing on the weekends. And actually, I left, having done all of that, I left to pursue a collegiate baseball career and went south, where the snow didn't fall quite so early. I'm going to say 1966 in the town of Wappingers minor league at the time. Little League then was 9 through 12-year-olds, and minor league was 8 through 11-year-olds. So the first place I could play was the minor leagues when I was 8. And like I said, that was in 1966, and just the opportunities with the town of Wappingers, which grew very rapidly from that point. Within 3 or 4 years, there became a town of Wappingers American and national, and also a village of Wappingers Little League. So all three of those were in one league when I got started. But like I said, the teamwork, sports in general has become my life, or has been my life all along. In good, solid parents, adults, communities that built facilities and places for us to play. It was just a blast almost every night of the week, all year.
One of Baker's proudest accomplishments playing Little League at a young age is being an all-star player, where he had the opportunity to play more competitive baseball, as he recalls, and it eventually led him to the chance to win a championship with some of his best friends.
So the All-Stars was kind of the culmination to our regular season, and the team that I played on in the regular season was kind of a middle of the road team, and I was the only All-Star from our regular season team. So it was a great honor and privilege, really. We didn't think of it that way as 11 and 12-year-olds, but to play with the best players from all the other teams in the All-Star tournament, which is where we won the state championship. So it was kind of the next level. And instead of practicing once a week and playing twice a week, it became practicing 4 days a week and playing 3 days a week, and traveling a little bit, throughout the state of New York, and then the regionals turned out to be in New York that year. And really, what I remember more so, I mean, there are a few game highlights that I do remember, but most of those are from talking through them with guys on the team since then. But really, what I remember is the relationships. A lot of those players, a lot of those guys are good friends, and I'm still in touch with probably about half of them. And their parents as well. We were all, for that one summer, kind of like one family. Not kind of like one family. We were one big family for that summer.
The coach of Baker's team was none other than Ralph Holt, sports legend in Dutchess County. Baker recalls some of his best memories of Holt and refers to him as his on-field father. Most importantly, though, he remembers what he taught himself and his teammates, which is to work to be your best every single day.
So some of the things that I got from him were similar to what I got from my own dad. He was kind of our on-field dad, if you want to put it that way. But he didn't accept us performing at a level below our capabilities, right? So it's not like he was a crazy competitive. You have to do this. You need to be Mickey Mantle and get out there and do all this kind of stuff. But he knew what each of us could do, and he demanded that we do that on a daily basis. And of course, if you work at your best daily, then your best becomes a little bit better every day as well. And he was also, like I said, like an on-field father. He was a guy that liked to have a good time with us. We had a blast playing for him. He was funny as well as demanding. He knew his stuff, and we loved playing for him. The Eastern Regionals, and I don't know that this story's been told in 40 years or whenever it was back then, but the first time that we spent a night in a hotel, we were at, it wasn't at a hotel, it was in the dorms, I think at Concordia College. The regionals were in Eastchester. And of course, you get a bunch of 11 and 12-year-olds that are excited out on a trip, so nobody wants to go to sleep and nobody wants to be in a room. But the night before we played, the coaches, of course, did a room check, and Mr. Holt happened to draw. I guess he drew the short straw, so that he came to our room, and they came twice. So they came the first time, and of course we were all there. And he said, "Well, we'll be back. We'll be back in about 20 minutes to make sure everybody's in bed." So when he came back 20 minutes later, all four of us had hid in the closet. So when he came in, he couldn't see anybody. There was nobody in the room as far as he knew. And of course we were there, and we would never miss a curfew, but we could hear him talking like, I don't know where they are. They were here 20 minutes ago. I didn't see anybody leave. They can't have gone anyplace. And then we popped out. I don't remember who said it, but we popped out of the closet and gave a Yo-Ho Ralphie chant. But yeah, good times on that trip.
Baker has always had a competitive edge to him, and he wanted to play sports as long as he could. Playing in college at Austin Peay University and eventually turning to coaching at various universities, including Bristol, University of Northern Iowa, and Louisville. As Baker married, he and his wife decided to raise a family. He turned to athletic administration instead to keep his passion for sports alive. Today, he raises his two daughters, who both have a passion for sports as well.
Absolutely. I just love playing the games. I love to compete. I love the daily challenge of getting better. And then going out on game day and seeing who was doing a better job of it. So playing sports, really, I was going to play as long as I could, and probably played a little longer than I should have. Health-wise, I guess is the best way to say it. But played through college, and then started a career. Actually, had a degree in chemistry, so I started a career down that road. But everything that I did also included leaving time so that I could be a volunteer coach for whoever the local college was. And originally that was Austin Peay, where I graduated. Then it was Cumberland University, which was then a junior college, and I helped there. And then I had moved to Louisville and was actually selling computers and had made contact and was going to be a volunteer at the University of Louisville. But I got a head coaching job at an NAIA school, Bristol College, in East Tennessee, and that kind of made it a profession for me now. So I didn't have to allocate free time to it. It seemed like a good idea. If I really wanted to do that, then let's spend the day doing it, and that made more sense. So from there, went to grad school. Like you said, was at Northern Iowa, then Louisville, then Guilford. Really enjoyed my time at all four of the head coaching jobs, and have stayed in touch with a good number of players from each school. But while at Guilford, while at Louisville, I got married. My wife was a volleyball coach, and while I was coaching at Guilford, she was the head volleyball coach at Wake Forest, and we had two daughters. Those two daughters obviously meant more to us than any game or any profession or anything else. And in particular for my wife, who was coaching at the Division I level and spending a lot more time on the road, out of town, recruiting, wanted to spend more time with our kids. So we transitioned out of coaching at that point and went into high school. She went into academic administration, and I went into athletic administration. Well, I played until I was in my mid-30s. Played baseball at a pretty competitive level, playing semi-pro baseball, actually in Louisville while I was coaching. So after that, then it kind of became, every now and then I go and play golf. So beyond, I don't want to say that I never play anything else, but really that was it. I kind of drew the line at that league in Louisville, and then a little bit of golf as far as participation. But both our daughters played volleyball, and one of them also played soccer. Our oldest is Peyton. She went to, they both went to a couple high schools because we moved around, but she played volleyball and then tried some lacrosse in high school. And our other daughter, our youngest, Kellen, played volleyball and soccer while she was in high school. And she was a manager for the University of Mississippi volleyball team while she was in school there. And she's in law school now. So in my world, like you said, don't look into the professional side of it, but really being an athletic director, that's kind of all you got time for. So like today, I'm in this morning, and we're collecting eligibility paperwork and all the day-to-day stuff that has to be done so that the kids can play. And I tell everybody, that's why I'm here during the day, is so I can do all the things and enjoy what goes on at night. But I'll be here till 8 or 8:30 tonight watching the boys volleyball game.
Baker hopes to pass on the same advice to kids today that Holt passed on to him. Always work to be your best every single day. He discusses the importance he feels for studying sports history in order to keep the legacy of people like himself, his teammates, and Ralph Holt alive for all those in the Dutchess County community today.
I think the one piece of advice is follow your heart, right? If you love it, then do it to the best of your ability. Got that from Coach Holt. Got it from my dad. Every adult that I ever played for along the way. But if you don't love it, then don't play it. Find something that you do love, and that's the path to follow. But for sure, if you're going to be involved and you're going to stay a part of it, then absolutely do your best on a daily basis and make the most of your opportunities. A lot more reverence for history, I guess, at this point in my life, and probably I have a lot more reverence for it than most of the young people that we hope will stop by the museum, or I guess it's online now, so they can kind of get a taste of what sports in Dutchess County has been for a good long time. But really, the legacies and all that has gone into creating opportunities for the kids today, the history, any history that you can find, I think is worthwhile to know, right? Your Little League in Wappingers right now would not be the same had it not been for Mr. Holt, for the Foster family, the handful of people that were really involved on a daily basis. There were some names, Joe Sauter and George Schlothouse, are names that probably don't get mentioned much around town, but without those guys starting that league, the opportunities that are there now would not have existed. We were I think we were the first, but maybe the second area team to win a state championship, and then we did it again with basically the same core of guys as the senior league team in 1973. And then a good number of those guys played on a big league all-star team a few years later too, that didn't quite get to the state championship level, but building on everything we did. And the history of sports in Dutchess County in the high schools is amazing. When you go back and look at what used to be Wappingers High School, that's now Royce Ketchum, and then when the population blew up, John Jay was added, and of course Arlington, where I attended. But the rivalries there grew into friendships later. So like I said, a lot of the guys that I stay in touch with, and we moved actually after my 13-year-old year in senior league. So a lot of the guys that I played with in the summer, I played against during the school year, and those relationships and the history that we developed are going to be 20, 30, and 40 years from now are going to be the same stories and the same relationships and the same history that the kids today hopefully can come to the Sports Museum and see how it used to be and how it can be for them.